Unrated sports podcast in the world.
Damn
But
it.
that is
I
not
thought
the
I.
world we are currently living in. Welcome in. We are live to the Believe in Monsters podcast. We are one of the top Bears podcasts in the world, but the Chicago Bears are very bad. Welcome in, and thank you for following. And you can follow us on the Twitter machine at BIM_pod. I'm Joe Gaither. I've missed you for the last couple of weeks. My friends Luke Bootsberry and Chris Krogman, who do the actual work on this podcast, were with you the last couple of weeks, carrying the banner for this losing season. And I commend both of them for keeping the thing going. Especially in the face of such staunch adversity. And the adversity continued this past week, losing to the Buffalo Bills 35-13. Our Chicago Bears came out with a great first drive, and then the rest of the game developed. We're here to break down the Bills and Bears game. Look ahead to see what's left with the Chicago Bears season. I believe they have the Lions and Vikings last, right? Vice versa. Let's see. So we have just a couple more weeks of this miserable season. Yeah, Lions and Vikings are the next two opponents to close out this year. Can we get the number one pick? What will we do with it? Much debate on Bears Twitter on how this team can be improved. And we'll get into all that on tonight's episode of the Believe in Monsters podcast. Chris Krogman, how have you been doing, my friend?
Well, Joe Gaither, I've been doing wonderful. I had a lovely Christmas with the family. Two little boys, as you both know. Yourself and
Four
Lucas
little
Berry.
boys.
Well, yes. So the two that live with me were fun to watch on Christmas Day and Christmas Eve, opening presents and having just a grand old time. The present I opened from the Bears on Christmas Eve was shitty. It was just garbage, lumps of coal everywhere. But there were not too many people playing. Pretty much everybody and their mother was hurt. Justin Fields threw for a whopping 119 yards on 23 attempts. Ran for another 11 on 7 carries, a whopping 1.6 yards per carry. Biggest, coolest thing that happened, and I got to text our very own Lucas Berry about this, that Velus Jones finally unlocked the offense and caught a big bomb down the sideline from Justin. But yeah, nobody on defense played. Everybody hurt. Well, I mean, not everybody.
Kyler Gordon.
Yeah, big pick for Kyler Gordon in the end zone.
Kyler Gordon had an interception, as did Nicholas Morhose. But yeah, 35-13. Not great. Not too great, but we expected that. So the exact opposite record of the Buffalo Bills, 3-12 to their 12-3. But that's okay.
Much like all the other Bears games, I felt like we hung in there for a decent while, and then it all just kind of unraveled. But I mean, it was a decent game. What was the score at halftime? It was fairly close, right?
It was 10-6 Bears, and then we got outscored 29-3 in the second half.
Right. Yeah. So typical Bears game this season, as we've seen. The Bills did a good job of the Bill. This is probably the first game since Washington where a team has just fully bottled up Justin Fields, right?
Yeah, they started to run very effectively in the second half. Singletary and Cook both with almost 100 yards each. Singletary 106 and Cook 99. Fucking even Josh Allen had 41 yards. So they didn't really go crazy in the passing game. Only 172 yards out of Allen. But
Diggs was locked up, man. Kyler did a great job when he was on Diggs. I mean, Diggs, I think, had one catch for 6 yards.
I'm sure you guys both. Joe, I don't know if you saw that story about Stephon Diggs and that little boy that he met at training camp during this week. The story came out.
But his father passed away, correct? What was the rest of the details on that story about it? But the young man's father passed away.
Correct. Yeah. So Diggs met him at training camp, linked up with him a couple of weeks later again at training camp. And then he was at the game on Saturday, and Diggs gave him a pair of shoes or cleats that had memorial to his father on the cleats and blah blah blah. So big fan of Stephon Diggs after that. Already a big fan of his game, but he seems like a very, very nice person as well. So kudos to you, Mr. Diggs. Big kudos. But yeah, locked down by Kyler Gordon, defensive rookie of the year, Kyler Gordon.
Jaquan Brisker.
That guy too.
Hey.
He's okay.
They both look solid. I mean,
they both are.
Secondary future wise looks pretty solid in my opinion. So
I agree.
Well, and then Paul's got a first hand look at future Bear Tremaine Edmonds. That was nice. It was nice of him to not have too many tackles and whatnot. Played okay. We didn't play lights out, but looking forward to him being a Bear next year. And Nate Peterman got in.
Nate Peterman did get in. He was trying to really lead that. Wait, did he?
Yeah, he did. He was 3 for 5, 25 yards.
Yep.
I know his first 2 passes were like first downs, I think, and then
I think the third pass was the pick.
I think the highlight of that whole game on offense, I think you hit it, Chris, was that Velus Jones throw. I think that might have been the best throw I've seen of Fields this year, to be honest. That was an absolute dime.
Yeah, it was a great throw.
Between 2 defenders, he kind of threw him open. I mean, Velus had a little bit of separation, but he just took it and chucked it and hit him perfectly on a cold, windy day. So showing off the arm talent there. And that was about it for the offense. Minus the first drive.
Montgomery had 10 fantasy points. I only know that because he's on one of my squads, but 4 catches, which I feel is like his high for the year, which is fucking pathetic. But also had 16 for 62, which is only a 3.9 yards per rush. Khalil Herbert did not make a stellar return, averaging 1 yard per carry.
The Bills defense had a perfect game plan for how to stop the Bears. I mean, in theory, it doesn't seem hard to stop the Bears, but they were seemingly running on everyone up until this week. So kudos to Leslie Frazier.
Something had did Montgomery bust off a long one that Borum got the holding call on, or something where Borum got a fucking penalty? Their offensive line is a shit show.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, the only kind of positive on that line who played Sunday was Braxton Jones. He's definitely been up and down, but
I don't think they're. I'm kind of leaning towards them not replacing him next year.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, but they have so many holes that I think he's earned a chance to keep playing. I don't think he's maybe the best way to put it is maybe he's like the least bad lineman right now with some potential.
Tevin's been pretty good.
Well, yeah, I just meant like guys are playing. I mean, I think Tevin's definitely their best lineman, but
yeah, no, they have, and like you said, Lucas, they got plenty of other spots to fill along that line. But I mean, I think the only real tackle kind of left out there, I guess. Well, there's a couple guys, but like Orlando Brown is the big name. Some people say he hasn't had the best year this year, but would probably command a good chunk of change. So do you invest that amount of money in him, or do you just keep plugging away with Braxton and use your resources elsewhere? I mean, the Bears do have to spend quite a bit of money this offseason just to hit that floor, like we talked about, Lucas. But O-line is definitely an investment they need to make.
Right. And just to add some context to what you're saying, we had Jack Conklin of the Browns sign an extension. And who was the other lineman that signed an extension, Chris?
Elton Jenkins
on the Packers. And those were 2 major Bears targets that a lot of Bears fans wanted. But in reality, most of the time, good players don't hit free agency that often.
Especially good linemen.
Right.
Especially good linemen. I think Orlando Brown is kind of an anomaly. He's in a weird situation because he wants to play left tackle. He was much better at right tackle. He went to left tackle, bet on himself, and is not panning out. So his free agent market will be interesting. That being said, he's probably has the most potential on the market. Like, he could be a cornerstone tackle for a team, but really is going to depend, where the Bears and Ryan Poles view him, if they view him as a right or left tackle.
You think Poles can talk him into playing right tackle?
I don't know. Maybe. I think he was chasing the money, though. That's why he switched to left. Maybe they could pay him extra money and have him go to right tackle. I mean, that'd be probably beneficial for both parties.
So was he on the last year of his deal in Baltimore when he got traded to Kansas City, or did he sign some sort of small extension with them, or how is he available again, essentially?
Wasn't he on a franchise tag or on a 5th-year extension of his rookie deal?
I mean,
anyways, while Lucas looks that up, Chris, I just want you to know, for the past 9,000 years, American black bears have slowly been turning red due to a genetic variant. Some American black bears in the western United States have evolved to have a cinnamon-colored fur. The new hue is likely due to a genetic variant similar to one that causes albinism in humans.
Have you seen that Turning Red Disney movie that's out? That's like kind of like what you're talking about. It's a red bear, and she gets mad, and she turns into a big red like panda bear.
Oh, cool!
And then like pushes little bully kids. It's kind of like
that's not cool.
I mean, no, it's cool because like she's like sticking up for like herself or like other kids that are getting bullied. So that's a good thing.
Well, that is cool.
So,
what did you find, Luke?
What is the application here, Joe? Do we want to be more like red bears? Because like when I think of the Chicago Bears, I think of grizzly bears. And those are more like chocolate colored and bigger than black bear. Black bears are small. So when my wife and I were coming back from Steamboat Springs, we took a little respite from the children and had the uncle and aunt watch the boys. Black bear actually darted across the highway in front of us. That thing was fucking small. Like it looked like Lucas. Like just short.
Well, Luke, do you have the source of Orlando Brown's contract? Or are you ready for one more? Because scientists can extract polar bear DNA from just their footprints.
All right. Yeah. Orlando Brown got franchise tagged by the Chiefs.
Copy.
So he's currently playing on a 1-year, $16.5 million deal.
Brutal. That's what the fucking franchise tag for tackles was?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
And the Chiefs traded a 1st, 3rd, 4th, and a 5th round pick in exchange for Brown and a 2nd rounder. So they sent a haul to the Ravens for what could be a rental. I guess if you're as good as the Chiefs, it doesn't really matter, but still.
You don't stay good by doing shit like that.
They got Mahomes. They'll be fine.
The Dolphins had Marino. They weren't fine. They got there once.
Does that make you angry?
You just sound really ignorant, but that's okay. I mean, I want our listeners to think that we have some intelligence on this podcast.
I missed it. What was I missed it looking up bear facts. What was the dumb comment made?
Lucas called Mahomes better than Marino.
I said Marino's not Mahomes.
Yeah. They're not the same people. Correct. Factually accurate.
You're right. Marino sold isotoners and Mahomes is selling State Farm. So I guess that's accurate.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Well, anyway.
So the rest of the tackle market is like Mike McGlinchey. I think there's maybe one other right tackle-ish type person. McGlinchey would
love it if we brought in Golden Dome or Mike McGlinchey.
I would love it.
The problem with your disdain for the Golden Domers, although we did lose a top recruit this week, which sucked, is that it's not like bear lore, accurate. Like this is like Like every Golden Domer wants to play for the Bears. It's like the Chris Zorich story. So like for you to continue to play this like hatred is I just don't think you have that extracted polar bear DNA in your bloodline anymore, friend.
Well, did you know that grizzly bears and black bears generally do not eat, drink, defecate, or urinate during their hibernation? So maybe this Bears team could be hibernating, and that's why we're not bringing in any talent. And you know, we have to wait to the off season when we wake up.
So
I think they're actually defecating.
So if I'm hearing you correctly,
They are
during
defecating in the cave.
During hibernation, a bear definitely does not shit in the woods.
The Bears shitting on itself because they were 3 and 12.
Because they're getting the first pick. I didn't.
We're all in agreement. If we get the first pick, we're trading back, right? Shut up all the.
If they get the second pick, you got to trade back.
All the Twitter heads who are saying, "Oh, you're taking X or Y." No, you're not. You're leveraging all the picks. You're going to the damn Lions and saying, "Come on, give me all your picks."
No, what's going to be funnier is if we get the first pick and then we ask the Texans for all their picks to move up. How would they like those apples?
I think the Texans will still be happy with Will Anderson at 2.
Nah. Yeah, our best bet's probably the Panthers or a team like that. Panthers or Colts. Anyway, the Bears can get a haul, 1 or 2. Just don't beat the Lions this week.
There's just going to be that that team that overvalues either Levis or
Stroud.
The Ohio State kid is what I was going to say because I couldn't think of his name. But yeah, CJ Stroud and gives up enough to make it worth it. It doesn't have to be the Jesus haul that like people want with the 3 first rounders. Even if it's 2 firsts and like a couple of thirds or a third and fourth, it's enough if it's not too far back. Like plus it's not like you have to stop trading there. What if there's somebody what if somebody comes up and takes I don't know, Levis or something at 2, and then somehow Stroud falls to where the Bears drop to at like 5 or something, and they want to move back again. Like, it's not illegal. They could do that shit. I mean, they could trade down multiple times. Not to say that's going to happen, but if they somehow get the number 1 pick, I don't know what I would do with myself.
So the Texans need to win one of the last 2 games, and they play the Jaguars this week.
That's it. They only need to win one game, and the Bears move into 1.
Yeah, because
if the Bears lose, yes. Because the Texans have a tie. The Texans have a tie, so
a tie is better than a loss.
That tie basically counts as half a win.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm saying if they win one more, though, they'll have the tiebreaker over.
And who do they have left? They have the Jaguars and who? Colts?
The Jaguars, who can't win their division this week, still might affect their wild card, so they'll probably play their starters, and then the Colts, who looked probably worse than the Texans have recently.
I don't understand the Colts.
Yeah, the
Colts
Jags will beat them.
man.
The Jags will win this weekend, but the Colts could easily lose on the last week. They could easily
there's a team that, like, what if they get 5 or whatever, 4 or 5? I think they're hovering right there in the shit zone. They need a fucking quarterback.
I mean, both those teams have reason to tank their balls off in that last game. Honestly,
and they like Sean Payton sitting out there. Where do you think Sean Payton goes?
The Chargers.
Go Chargers.
I think he's better. Yeah, I think he's better for her. I don't know. Something about Stanley. I don't know.
Well, that's all well and good. I just think, like, what about the Panthers?
I just think I don't know.
Panthers or Broncos? He goes into the Broncos and says, "I'm going to fix Russell Wilson."
I can't see him going to a reclamation project. That's my thing. I don't
think the Broncos are a reclamation project. That's for sure.
If you fix Russell Wilson, I think that roster looks good.
Yeah, but that's what fixing someone to me is a reclamation project. I mean,
I don't
if one of
think
those
it's well.
LA jobs opens, I mean, if McVay leaves the Rams, it seems like probably a pretty good job. Or if or a team like the Chargers who might just want to upgrade their coach. I don't know. I can't see Peyton going to a team that's like bad though, like the Panthers. I think there's too much invested in the Broncos though. That's my issue because Peyton probably wants control wherever he goes.
Yes, totally.
You really think he's going to want minimal or less picks and money tied up in Wilson if Wilson actually is cooked for the next 4 years? I think it says a lot that they offered their DC the interim job and he declined it. Like this guy is basically getting his chance to coach in the NFL and he said, "No, I'll pass on this."
He didn't want to get judged by it.
They're going to hire Dan Quinn. I know it. Dan Quinn and Marty Schottenheimer are going to go to the Broncos.
Marty Schottenheimer.
Isn't he dead?
Yeah, like, dude, that guy's like 80 years old.
What's the son's name? I don't know the son's name.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't either.
Brian? Is it Brian Schottenheimer? I think it's Brian.
Yes, it's Brian.
Yeah. I think Quinn and Schottenheimer.
Brian.
What about Peyton Manning?
Big head. I don't know.
He could coach the Broncos or the Colts.
He can coach them both.
It's finally fun to troll other teams, though, for once, for getting the quarterback wrong. I mean, Zach Wilson's almost done in New York. They're saying he's probably done after this year.
Could you imagine if the Bears traded for Wilson? There was even somebody said there was even talks after they had Fields of them doing it.
Well, yeah, you remember it was apparently like a done deal, and then somebody, was it Pete Carroll, pulled out of it, and thank God.
If they win, they need to build a statue of Pete Carroll. You know what that? I got to look up what that haul was again. Joe, you need to read another Bear fact. I looked this up.
Well, the haul was it was the quarterback. It was Equibamium. The tight end, and
dude, what?
Isn't the tight end like the most basic name ever?
Albert.
What do you? Oh, Alberto.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't Alberto.
No, they traded Fant. No.
It was Noah Fant. 8 total letters in the
whatever that guy's name is.
Okaboji.
No, what is his name? Because
I can't pronounce his last name. It is Alberto because I can't do that. But that wasn't the guy they traded.
Well, as we get the rest of it,
they traded 2 8-letter guys: Drew Lock,
food and hunting,
Noah Fant.
And despite a fearsome reputation, the Grizzly is just as happy eating vegetarian food, fruit and berries, as it is eating meat. It is classified as a carnivore, but in fact, it is more of an omnivore and will eat pretty much anything.
So he's happiest eating Lucas berries.
All right, Joe, this is the haul that the Bears were proposed to give up for Wilson. 3 first-round picks,
Akeem Hicks,
a third-rounder, and 2 starters, which were rumored to be Roquan and either Hicks or Mack or something like that. So
God.
Could you imagine if we gave that up for Russell Wilson? And they said no to that. They said, no, we don't want that.
That's insane. Praise the Lord that they said no.
Oh, my God. Could you imagine
we
that?
would be so fucked.
Ryan Pace is parting. Yeah, we would be set back for the next 5 years.
I saw somebody on a Discord channel I'm on who had posted a bet on the Broncos, which I'll never tell anything Broncos related unless it's the under. But they said, fuck Russell Wilson. I hope Sierra bangs Future tonight. I was like, ouch, bro. Jeez Louise. You got burned. Yeah, so
grace for him though.
Yeah, they're terrible. But back to this Chicago Bears team, not Grizzly Bears or Panda Bears or Black Bears or Polar Bears, but the Chicago Bears didn't do so well against the Bills. They have the Lions coming up. It's about a 5.5 point spread. Last time I looked, don't know what the total is, but I can't
Pretty
imagine
sure
them winning this
it's the
game.
highest
Guard your
total of the
kneecaps.
week.
Guard your
Lucas
kneecaps,
gave
whatever
his
you do.
lead pipe lock of the over last week, and it looked like absolute hot trash at the halftime, and then the Bills scored 30 second half points. So that flew over. I think, what was it, 37 or 39 or 39, right?
It finished pretty high, but yeah, it started around 39 or something like that.
Because the weather changed, because it wasn't nearly as bad as it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
If you guys listen to Hogan Johns, which I reference quite a bit on here, Adam Hogue talks so much shit about the weather, like, and how everybody's always afraid of the first snowfall, and it turns out to be nothing. It's like it started out as like 3 feet, and it got down to like 1 to 3 inches by the time it was like late Friday. Anyway, Lions,
Tigers.
52.5 is the total for this week, which is the highest total of the week. It'll be perfect conditions in the Detroit Dome, and the Lions are fighting for a playoff spot, but they looked absolutely horrendous last week.
They did. They gave up a lot of running yards to Chuba Hubbard and Donta Foreman.
See, this is a game that scares me for the Bears possibly winning, just because I feel like this is a team that Fields could absolutely light up, even with minimal help.
Can we please not embarrass ourselves and actually beat the Lions?
You don't want the first pick, Joe?
No. What's the difference between 1 and 2? Really?
Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson.
Yeah, but if
any other questions?
If you had been smart at 2 and taken Justin Fields, you'd be fine.
Yeah, but the your point's irrelevant if Trey Lance is in this draft, which who knows if he is, because the Niners gave up the Jesus trade to get Lance. And it didn't matter about Lawrence and Wilson because they went 1-2.
Well, I think Lawrence matters just because at 1 it's like a surefire.
Well, yeah, but like Hurts isn't a surefire
by losing to losing
to
Hurts. Detroit's embarrassing.
What's his name?
What's
your boy's name?
They're not a real football team.
What are you talking about, Chris? What's his name?
Alabama's guy, Bryce Young.
Oh yeah. What about him, Bryce Young?
He's not a surefire either. Like he's not Trevor Lawrence.
I guess it doesn't matter because we don't need him anyway. But I think you could definitely get a bigger haul being at 1.
Right, but the context is the value of the pick, whether it's Trevor Lawrence or Bryce Young.
I'm just being selfish and right in the moment. I don't like losing to Green Bay, and I don't like losing to Detroit. I don't much less care about losing to Minnesota, but like I feel icky about losing to Detroit. Like when you lose to Green Bay, I feel depressed and I feel bad about myself, and my self-worth is low. But like losing to Detroit, I feel like I need a shower for 4 days.
Man, there was a string there where we lost like 6 or 8 straight, dude. How did you feel during that time?
To Detroit? No.
Yeah, we did. They beat our ass for like 3 years straight.
Yeah, it was bad.
Nagy crushed Detroit.
It was pre-Nagy. It was like Tressman.
Oh, well, yeah, Tressman. Golly, Tressman's an idiot. Do any of you guys get Matt Nagy vibes from Mike McDaniel?
No.
Like Mr. I'm cool. I'm hip with I'm Mr. Players Coach.
No.
I'm doing things my way.
You know who Matt Nagy is? Matt Canada is Matt Nagy.
I was going to say, I get Matt Nagy vibes from Dayball.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, did you know, Chris, that baby pandas are born pink and they measure about 15 centimeters? That's about the size of a pencil. They're also born blind, and they only open their eyes 6 to 8 weeks after birth.
Wow.
Much like a regular human baby.
Yeah. Yeah. Much like
So, how are we feeling about this game on Sunday? Or do we play? We don't play Saturday again, right?
No, it's fine.
How do we feel?
It's Sunday. It's Sunday at noon.
I have called losing out since Atlanta, and I'm going to ride it.
Yes. 4, 5, 6. This is 8 now. We're gonna go 9, 10 in a row to close the season out.
And is it weird that I don't feel any shame about Eberflus and I still think he's a solid coach?
No, it's not. I don't think it's a
No,
shame because
no.
it's obvious that this team can play, Luke. Well, it's
just-
obvious this team.
I don't know. There's
is
something about him
coached
I like.
Frozen Joe.
I think it's obvious that the team's coached well, but you get down in the roster, like you watch games go on and the roster falls apart, the depth falls apart. You get Eberflus enough depth, I think he might be able to give you a bunch of wins.
Yeah, I do. Something about him. I just like him. I don't know. I don't feel like weird. I don't feel like he's like a bad coach or anything. I actually feel like he seems comfortable in his first year. It doesn't seem like he's in over his head.
I'd agree with that.
He handles things just very professionally, I guess, and doesn't say too many like dumb things to the media. I don't know. I like the guy.
I like the guy too. I hope he.
And I think we're seeing some improvements with certain players too. Like Kyler Gordon's transformation from beginning to this point, I think, has been tremendous. Brisker, Sanborn, a lot of those young guys. So
I'm encouraged about the growth of Kyler Gordon because I was pretty hard on him for the first 5 weeks because he looked lost out there. But the last 3 or 4 weeks, he's really looking like he's finding himself and been more and more comfortable. And you'd like to see that going into year number 2. You get you a third corner, you get you somebody. Not that Vildor has really been overly bad, but you get somebody. You get an upgrade on Vildor. I think you got bigger needs than that. But if you were to get a bigger upgrade on Vildor, then your secondary is looking sick going into 23.
That the guys that have played the last couple of weeks have looked pretty solid.
Jalen Jones,
Jones, and Blackwell have looked serviceable. So yeah, it's a interesting.
Did you know that koala chlamydia is a serious disease? But it's not the same strain of chlamydia that affects humans. Many koala populations are vulnerable to chlamydia, and it usually manifests when they're in stressful situations. The disease can cause blindness and reproductive tract infections.
So it does have to do with vagina, though, or the reproductive areas. Koala bears aren't bears, though. They're
marsupials.
They're not bears. Just because they're called bears doesn't mean they're bears.
I think okay, so you're playing the Lions this week, and Dan Campbell is going to do exactly what he's always going to do. We're going to pound you in the face. We're going to go for it on 4th down. We're going to make you defend every inch of the field, every bloody grass. We're going to bite your kneecaps, and they're going to beat us because they're tougher than us. They like to run the football. They have a good offense. Like their offense has been fire all year long. Their defense has been way up and down. I don't know what they've been up to lately, but their defense has been.
Their defense has been getting better, except for last week. They didn't play great, but yeah, their pass defense has definitely improved. If you're a fantasy player, they give up, I think, the most points to quarterbacks in the NFL. So if you have Justin Fields, he's a must start. The Lions have been playing better, though. I think this is going to be a not so old-fashioned shootout. I think both teams will be able to put up some points in this one.
So a random NFL trend: teams avenging a loss where they led by at least 13 points after 3 quarters. So the last game against the Lions are a perfect 11-0 against the spread since week 16 of 2019.
So you're saying the Lions should cover the spread?
I like that stat.
No, I'm saying the Bears should cover the spread.
So you're saying the Lions were up by 13 plus?
No, the Bears were up by 13.
In the Bills game?
No, in the
last Lions
first
game.
Lions game.
Oh, I see. Were we up that much when we blew it? Was it that bad?
Lost 31-30.
Oh, we lost on a missed extra point, right? Santos
Yes,
missed an extra point.
they beat us 21-6 in the fourth quarter.
That's right. Wow, Chris. So you're saying Bears cover 6.5?
So it's an 11-0 trend. You start to get trends that big, you start looking for the buck, right? I mean, it's gonna flip the other way sooner or later. Reversion to the mean and all that shit. I don't know what that is, but
That's the buck, baby.
The buck stops here.
Dude, Tom Brady. Ooh,
Brady's
man.
awful.
He is not looking good.
Do we think that? Do we wonder is Brady really that good of a quarterback, or is he excellent at finding a way to play in terrible divisions? I mean, I'm being largely facetious, but
You're being a large feces?
yes, I am. Largely facetious, a large feces.
Fairly similar. Fairly similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, they somehow can go under 500 and win the division, right?
Yes. It's insane.
Stupid NFL.
So, Krugman, do you think the Bears are going to mess it up and win?
No.
Do you think they'll scare us a little bit, though?
Yes.
You think this one will be a high-scoring affair? Points everywhere?
Yeah, because the Lions' defense is terrible. And they were up pretty good. No, wait. They were up They were up on the Panthers a little bit, right? Weren't they up like 13-0 or 13-3? And the Panthers
that's right.
fucking
Dude, the Panthers, they ran all over them. I mean,
Carolina Panthers.
Yeah,
Let's see.
The Panthers ran the ball right down their throat.
Mm-hmm. They did.
I think this one will be high scoring. I think
Lions fans
37-23.
Lions fans are very
Deontay Foreman had 165 yards rushing.
And Hubbard had like another 100. They ran for like something like 400.
Yeah, Hubbard
yards.
went for 125.
Yeah,
that would be kind of nice to shut up annoying ass Lions fans who say every year that they're better than the Bears, and then the Bears killed their playoff chances. That'd be awesome.
I really don't.
Exactly. Like, I don't want to have that stigma like we beat you going into the playoffs. Like, gosh, shut up.
What if like they beat the Lions and then next week they lose to the Vikings?
That's fine.
And the Texans beat whoever they need to, and we get both. We end up getting the first overall pick and beat the Lions.
I love that.
Is that possible, Lucas? Can we do that?
I guess we would have to win, and the Texans would have to win twice.
Or lose twice, yes.
No, win twice. Texans would have to win twice.
Yeah, vice versa. Yeah, the other way.
I guess it's possible. I don't know. We're talking about crazy scenarios now. We just got to see what happens. I'm just saying, either end of it, I'm happy. I don't care. We probably will lose. If we don't lose, I won't mind.
Well, get your opinion on this statement that I heard. I can't remember who I heard it from, but talking about the Bears. Get your true or false and kind of your thoughts on it, Krugman and Luke. They said the Bears are doing a bad season the right way. The Bears are having a good bad season.
Who said that?
I think it was somebody from the Le Batard show, but basically,
I don't really care. That's exactly right.
The point was, you're losing the games. You're in the right place for the draft picks, but you know that you have a quarterback, the most important position on the field. You know that you have a quarterback. We're all in agreement there. If you're not, then I don't know what you've been watching. You've got a couple of nice pieces on the defensive side of the ball, a couple of young pieces, but like. You haven't been blown out of all these games. Obviously, you're blown out this past week, 35-13 blowout. But most of these games, which is probably why you're feeling so positive, Luke, most of these games, the Bears have, hung around and been in 25-20 with the Eagles, 27-24 with the Lions. You make these losses interesting. You make these losses fun. So it's like, have the Bears been having a good, bad year?
So I think, I think they have been having a good bad year, and just kind of projecting that forward. I think next year, and like I've started to say to Lucas, and like I've been thinking about myself, it's really a lot, and people say this a lot has to go right in the offseason for them to make the kind of leap that a lot of Bears fans seem to think that they can make.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yes, they have a ton of money. Yes, they are in a good position draft wise to potentially add a lot of capital, but we don't know what's going to happen. You know, we don't know if they're going to trade back. We think that they probably will. We don't know that they'll get a ton of draft picks, and we don't know that those draft picks are going to work out. We don't know that the free agents that we want to hit the market are going to hit the market. We don't know that Ryan Poles is going to sign those guys. We were hopeful that he's going to make some good decisions. You know, it looks so far that Gordon and Brisker are good pieces, that Braxton Jones has some abilities. Velas is something old. Velas is old. So I think they're at least 2 years away from being seriously competitive, especially if they do make a massive draft day type trade. Then it's going to be, there's going to be next year 2024 picks involved in this as well. So they really can't do it all this offseason. But I think they can get to like a fringe playoff team next year.
You think they could have a Jaguars like turnaround where they would
Totally
be competitive like them?
Yeah,
Maybe
I think they could get to like a 7 to 9 with that. We're always so fucking overly optimistic for this squad, and we don't want to believe the national media. But good God, they're typically right. This was not a 6-win roster, unfortunately. And then we traded away 2 key pieces on the defense. But you've seen the defense also bounce back. You've seen Sanborn's come alive. You've seen Josh Blackwell's and Jalen Jones has come alive. You've seen Brisker bounce back from his kind of rocky start. So yeah, I mean, Sanborn is another piece of this draft class. How did they add was Jones an undrafted free agent that they added on like cut day or whatever? Anyway,
yeah, I think so.
So I think that you've seen polls show that he's going to continue to work, you know, adding Claypool midseason. They're going to continue to work to get this roster better and better and better. I like the coaching staff. I think Hackett is going to work with whatever he's given. We've seen him get guys open, whatever. Damn, I fucked that up good. That was a bad faux pas. But yeah, Luke Getsy has done a good job of getting guys open. Maybe Hackett come be like a wide receivers coach. He's not doing anything. Somebody talked about him joining the Packers staff, and I thought that was funny. But fuck, I mean, he could, I suppose, right? Like, just
probably go back.
No, like right now. Like today.
That would be interesting.
Right.
No way.
Why?
I don't know.
I agree. No, I agree. It's weird, right? But there's nothing stopping him. There's nothing stopping it. He's not under contract, obviously, anymore. He's fucking fired. He's getting paid, which is hilarious. Walmart just lost a shitload of money.
Nathaniel Hackett robs Walmart. That's probably that's the headline in Denver.
It's all over Denver, dude. It's all over the Post. I think they're probably looking at a significant jump next year. You know, but they're not going to be able to add every piece. They're not going to be able to add the O lineman, the D lineman, the wide receivers, all in one foul swoop. It's just not going to happen. They might add a significant piece to each of those rooms, but they need more than that, unfortunately. And then it's going to take time to gel and things to work out. But I would think that Getsy, like, let's say, you know, the wide receiver free agent class looks like shit, but the tight end class looks pretty solid. So You add maybe a Dalton Schultz or even an Evan Ingram. I think that they could get better on offense pretty quickly. So, yeah, but looking at this Lions game, I don't think they win this game. No way. They cover, though, says the trend.
All right. Well, what is your final prediction, Chris Krogman? And give me some of the keys of the game.
Final prediction is that 52 and it's 6.5. You said? I thought it was 5.5.
It's 5.5. It's
5.5. So 5.5 makes 47. So 27, 23 ish.
I think the Lions implied total is 28 and a half.
31-28 Lions.
Wow.
Be almost the same score as last game.
Does Fields reach 300 yards total yards?
No.
Total yards.
Herbert. Oh, total yards?
Yeah. And as a follow-up, does Fields break the rushing record this year?
What's the rushing record?
I think he needs 200 something more yards rushing.
Potentially. I think
he had a good shot, but he got shut down last week. So
yeah, I think we run all over them regardless of who it is. So if it's Monty or Herbert or Fields, but I don't think we throw well because there's nobody to throw to. Claypool back this week.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. That's the one thing I want to see is I would like to see Claypool just have one of his signature games before the end of the year. It would be sweet. And Valus, keep getting Valus involved. That was good to see.
You got to keep. You have to use these last 2 weeks and get him on the field. Get him some reps.
Joe.
Well, in honor of Black Bears being able to run 35 miles an hour and being able to live for more than 25 years, I'm going to say that the Chicago Bears will win 35-25 because we're not going to be embarrassed by losing to those daggum Lions at home. Yes, that kind of defeats the number 1 overall pick race, but I do think that Justin Fields lights them up with a couple of electric plays through the ground, likely, it would be nice if the Bears defense could contain the Lions running game and kind of force the game into Goff's hands. I think you have a better shot with that. But the Lions offense is good. I think realistically the Lions probably do win this game, but I am picking the Bears just because I want to. So bear down.
That's my favorite.
I'm going to say
just because I want to.
I'm going to say the Bears. Bears, I think, are going to win this game. I'm going to say 27-26 Chicago Bears win. I think Fields has a great game. I think the Lions will do something dumb to lose it, like just go for 2 or go for a 4th down. That will be their demise.
Yes, Dan Campbell. He's going to go for it 4th and 2 on the Bears' 37-yard line with 2.5 minutes left.
But now that I think about it, I don't know if I can imagine the Bears getting a stop on 4th and 2 either. But anyway, that's how I drew it up in my head.
I love it. I think it's very realistic.
I think DeAndre Swift will run all over us. And I think Amon-Ra St. Brown will cook us again. But I think
doesn't sound
Joe,
fun.
I think Fields is going to do some electric stuff this game. Some devastatingly electric things to the Lions.
Devastatingly electric.
It's electric. Boogie, woogie, woogie. You can do it. It's electric.
All right, Joe.
All right, same time next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. Breaking down the Bears Lions, looking at Bears Vikings. Let's trudge on 2 more weeks. Can we do it? We have to. There's no choice. The people depend on us. We are, after all, the premier Chicago Bears podcast. Follow us on the Twitter machine at BIM_pod. See us on the YouTube page. Thank you to the Believe Network for putting us on each and every week. Krogman, thank you so much for keeping the podcast alive. And Lucas, you do such hard work for this show, and really in great preparation. You put a lot into it. I don't think people even have an idea. They see you on Twitter, but really you're the mastermind pulling all the strings. I really appreciate both you guys. The last 2 weeks filling in for when I wasn't able to be here, but really for the last year in the holiday season, I really appreciate both you guys. It's been a tough year on the field for the Bears, but it's been a lot of fun talking about them with you guys through this year.
Thank you, Joe Gaither. That was very nice of you, and we appreciate you too, buddy.
Amen.
Well, Chris, do you need to relearn the lyrics? I heard it didn't go very well for you the last time.
No, I just need to learn. I just need to learn how to read in order.
Okay, all right, here we go.
Right.
Bear down, Chicago Bears, make every play clear the way to victory. Bear down, Chicago Bears, put up a fight with the might so fearlessly. We'll never forget the way you thrilled the nation with your T formation. Bear down, Chicago Bears, and let them know why you're wearing the crown. You're the pride and joy of Illinois. Chicago Bears, bear down. Make every play clear the way to victory. We'll never forget the way you